South Jersey bad boys. South Jersey bad boys. South Jersey bad boys. Wow, Dan went baritone to match you.
Yeah, we went full in. We were carrying the load.
Usually we'll start with like a little, like, gay South Jersey bad boys, but Dan will sometimes hit it with a low.
Yeah.
He'll drop a low on you.
Yeah, like a nice like altar boy chorus type of thing.
I'm used to like a lower quality setup, so like I feel like I sound like John Morgan. Wow.
Yeah.
Like I gotta change it after this. I already committed to this, so like whatever, we're gonna rock with it. But
that guy that maybe it's the same one I'm thinking of. That actor with the mustache that's got the deep voice.
Morgan Freeman.
Not Morgan Freeman.
James Earl Jones.
No,
which I've tried and that didn't go.
It'll come
Voice
to me
with the
throughout
mustache.
pod. Yeah, he was in that. He was in that movie A Star Is Born.
Oh, we were talking about this a few weeks ago.
Anyways,
I'm better with faces, not names. Like you could show me the guy and I could tell you 10 things about him.
You'll know the guy.
We'll have to pull him up.
I'll pull him up.
Anyways, James Brennan on the pod. Thanks for coming, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, Brendan. How did we have this distinguished gentleman? This is the first time on the cast.
So let's. I'll give a very, very brief background. So also the first guest that we've ever had that we are meeting for the first time live on the pod. You and I have talked several times at this point.
Yeah.
But we met through a mutual friend of ours, my dear old friend Amanda Virgili.
Yeah.
And you were starting up a podcast, so she connected us. We talked about it, but we've just been following each other on Instagram ever since. When we put out the limited release of the T-shirts, you said, "Let me get one of these bad boys." We got to have you on the pod. Next thing you know, we got you on the pod, and so we're meeting for the first time.
I was gonna say too, like this is the riskiest podcast you guys have ever filmed, but not only because of that fact, but also with your dietary stuff.
Oh yeah,
I have celiac disease. Your diabetes. Like there should be a medical physician here or something. Like
oh god damn.
Like if somebody doesn't call 911, that'd be a miracle.
We're the autoimmune boys.
Yeah, we are, dude.
Yeah, that's why
autoimmune bad boys.
These twin diseases. Man.
Right behind that door, I have a lifetime supply of Narcan, which I don't know if it'll help us out, but it's there.
This is the guy. What's his name?
Sam Elliott.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So if you hit it real deep, you get a Sam Elliott vibe.
Yeah, like Ford Tough. That's who John Montague.
Exactly.
Yeah, doing one of those.
My best friend and the guy that I run my podcast with, his mom, like this is her one fucking guy. She loves
Sam
him.
Elliott.
Yeah.
She wants to go on a mustache ride or what?
Man, she'd be dying for a mustache ride.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we were talking about him and like I knew his name because she always said it and whatever, but I don't watch too much movies and I remember seeing him on certain things, but once they brought him up, I'm like, see, I'm a better person with faces. Like now I can tell you 10 things about him, but if you said his name, I don't know who the fuck he is. But
yeah, he just has a face that says he fucks. Like just look at that.
That guy definitely. He's got great head of hair for an older guy.
He looks like he works a third shift at a Wawa, not like the super Wawas, one of the old school like barely lit type of ones with that face right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
honestly, handsome at an old age. But dude, he had a great come up in the past like 10 years. Like it's almost like his whole career like just like reignited. And
that's what I know him from. I'm sure he's probably been an actor for a long time, but I started seeing him in some movies like you said, like the past, like I don't know, 3 or 5 years.
There was a show called The Ranch with Ashton Kutcher.
And
that was the one that I like.
Oh, he was in that?
That
makes sense.
Didn't he have a recurring character in Family Guy too? I feel like that's where I know his cartoon face from, but his voice, he was in Family Guy like a shit ton.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
Yeah. I always would love to see like famous actors, like what people know them from and if they're embarrassed because of that. Like Steve Buscemi, I only knew him growing up as like the jackass in a lot of Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
When he like had actually really good roles in adult movies that I hadn't seen when I was a kid.
Yeah, he was in like Reservoir Dogs. And
his credits are insane.
Fargo. And
that guy's lived a million different lives.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was a firefighter before he was even an actor. He was like a New York City firefighter before he was an actor.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
My friend was his neighbor, like my college friend. Yeah.
No way.
They were saying he was like the nicest dude. But I was a big Devils fan growing up, so sorry for everybody in Philly. Like I was.
And did you grow up? Where are you from? Because, like we said, This is the first time we're meeting.
Yeah,
and this is what
it's all fresh.
we're willing to do on the South Jersey Bad Boys. We'll just invite you into Dan's home.
Yeah.
Could be a total
They
risk.
gave me both of their addresses. Giant risk.
Don't know this guy at all. Could be a total risk. Could be a nightmare.
I
So
could
far,
just
I'm getting-
swim fan both of you, and you'd be like, "Why did we ever make this
Showed up
decision?"
with a gun.
I'm waiting for us to invite a guy from like an NJ Transit bus stop to show up at my house with like a katana or something. Just fucking slice and dice
I'm
us up.
selling all of your information. Like, This is going to seem normal, and then like a month from now, you're going to be like, "Why are all these
Like,
things happening in my life?"
Hey, Amanda, what the fuck was up with that guy? But anyway,
She's
so
like, "I don't even know him," and you're like, "Wait,
like,
what?"
was that? So we don't know a lot about you. So where are you originally from?
So, born and raised Roxborough.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
Didn't really leave, much of Philly. Like I went to Roman.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like that
Yeah.
was like 4 miles.
Yeah,
I
you
went to
can
LaSalle.
tell
That
it-
was like 6 miles.
You can tell in talking with the accent.
You know what? I never thought I had an accent until it was the first time I was coming home from California. Like I lived in California a couple times too.
Okay.
Oh.
But
Okay.
I was sitting next to this, like, she was very pretty, but it didn't go anywhere. But she was like a lot younger than me, and like I was like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 years older. But this was still in your like early 20s where
Yeah.
you're like, this is still weird.
Right.
Like it's not cool that I'm like hitting on you and you're like fresh 18. Like it still seemed weird. Like now that I'm about to be like 33.
Yeah, even though you were super young at the time, you're like,
Yeah, like now a 27-year-old, it's like, oh, this is normal. But I
Right.
felt like a creep being like, oh, this one-off interaction on a plane. It's like I have to sit next to you for 5 hours. I can't just hit on you and have it go bad. But she was kind of like, I don't know, talkative. And she said, oh my God, your accent is so strong. And I never thought I had an accent. And we have hard O's.
Yeah.
yeah,
Going home.
Home, phone,
Yeah.
and then water. Yeah. Yeah. So did she like it, or did she say strong accent? Like, you have a strong accent, or is she like, you have a strong accent?
She was so young. I don't think she had been anywhere either. So, I might be her first accent she ever heard.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I was going to say the only reason people have not told you have an accent is because you've probably been in Roxborough for quite a bit.
Yeah,
Nobody in
the whole
California
time.
ever told you had an accent?
Well, so in California, no one's from California.
That's
it's just all
true.
It's
accents.
unbelievable.
That's
Yeah,
true.
like where you meet so many different people that it doesn't even really register.
I went to an Eagles game out there a couple years ago, and it was all Eagles fans.
Which one?
So it was when they had the temporary stadium. So this must have been maybe 2019.
Did you see them play the Rams at the Coliseum? Because I was there for that.
Oh yeah,
I was
you
there
saw
for that.
Carson
Wait,
Wentz?
Yes, when he went
Yes.
down.
Yeah, yeah.
And Foles came in.
when-
I
Were
was
we
there.
all at the same game
yeah.
in LA?
It was the year
I was
that
there.
we won the Super Bowl. So it was 2017.
That's fucking hilarious.
yeah. No way.
I knew that we would put something together, but I didn't realize it'd be within 10
That,
minutes.
that stadium was incredible because it was like a soccer stadium.
Yeah, so it's the LA
a mass-
Coliseum.
yeah,
So
great
when you get
stadium.
outside, there's the big torch that everybody takes the photo with and
Yeah.
whatever. But it very much was a home game.
Yeah, it was taken over
Home
by
game.
Eagles fans.
Yeah, it was.
Home fans
So
everywhere.
I was with my drunk friend Alex, and
Shout out to Alex.
shout out to Alex,
Drunk Alex.
friend of
He's
the
just
show.
always drunk.
Drunk as fuck.
He
doing what
actually
does.
still lives out there, but we get to the tailgate. And he's in flip flops, and I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like classic tailgate
You can't-
or NFL game mistake. Like, who the fuck wears a pair of flip flops? He's like, "We're in LA,
That's
dude."
a tailgate
like,
party foul.
I was
Aw,
like, dude. So
you can't kick a Cowboys fan's teeth in with
Yeah.
flip flops on.
so we're already at the tailgate. I'm running into like friends of friends. Like we're taking pictures. It was a home game.
Yeah.
Everyone was fucking there. It was
That's what
crazy.
happened to me.
Yeah, so we're on our way into the game, and for whatever reason, Alex gets into it with this LA Rams fan. And this dude is huge. He's like 6'5", 280. Like, Alex is 5'10", $160, soaking
flops.
wet, in flops. So the guy is way less drunk than Alex. So he pulls the 200 IQ play, puts his foot on Alex's flop, and just pushes him. The flop's just destroyed. There's no way to even repair. I'm like,
Yeah.
Damn, so he was
Alex,
barefoot?
He was barefoot for the game. And they let him in. I don't know how they let him in.
Only in California.
Only
dude.
in California, yeah. 'Cause
Damn.
they don't
It was
care
probably
about
like the 10th time they saw that day.
Well, it was also the LA Coliseum, so like it's
Yeah.
not like full-time employees at
Yeah,
the Link
right.
or something where they're like, dude, we can't let you in without shoes.
Oh, yeah,
But-
There is something about being in California where you don't seem to have as many like diehard sports fans because it's beautiful out there, so there's so much other shit to do. But it's like if you're from Philly, it's like we live and die for the fucking Philadelphia
Yeah,
Eagles.
yeah.
Like this is all we kind of got going on.
Yeah, but it's super cool. Like when you drive around certain neighborhoods, you'll see, like Philly stuff on people's cars and you kind of like honk and kind of go like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, it's like the Jeep Wave.
yeah. Oh, God.
God.
Yeah.
I do got Jeep beef. Are you either you Jeep owners?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay,
not,
good.
not at all.
But I just mean in the sense that you see another
We can
person
continue
from
the
Philly, you're
podcast.
like, you give them a little salute, sir.
But see,
Yeah.
that always annoys me to an extent because
Yeah.
like back in the day, it kind of made sense. But like nowadays, it's like the only custom cars you see on the road are all these weird Jeeps, and they think they're their own people and their own society, and it's just like that's strange to me. I don't like it.
I've tried to start it with other Toyota owners, and it just doesn't does not work.
You wave to them and it's just like the fuck. It's like we're all pieces of shit.
Yeah,
here.
we're all just in beat the shit Corollas with no hubcaps left, and it's just it's not the same feel.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, I don't have insurance. How about you? And they're like, no, my car just hasn't been registered since 08.
they give you a salute, but
Yeah.
no insurance.
In Cali, Eagles games come on at 10 a.m.
That's wild. I wouldn't be able to adjust
That's a
to
good
that.
point.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
And
Good
like
point.
I was living in Anaheim at one point, and we were very into grilling and smoking meats, and all of our transplant Philly friends would always come to our house for the game because we had like the nicer house of because everybody's living in little like tiny shitholes.
Yeah.
But I was living with like my married friends where like his wife was like, we're not moving into anything that I don't accept. And like we got like a really nice fucking place. It was expensive, but it was like nice.
Yeah.
So
The Eagles game, when I was there where we were sitting at, I saw and this is where I'm like looking around and I see everybody's wearing team jerseys of any team that's not there. Like there was Eagles fans there was some Rams fans there. Like you said, it was like 2017 or 18. But there was a fight that broke out between a Steelers fan and a Patriots fan at a Eagles-Rams game in L.A. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, we're in L.A. Like, it's just everybody here is from wherever, and they're wearing their own team gear. Like, I hardly saw, if it wasn't Eagles or Rams, it was just random teams everywhere. It was pretty nuts. But beautiful stadium for a football game. I've been there twice. I mean, it's fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
It was
spot.
interesting. It was like I literally we walked in there, didn't know what to expect, and we ran into a couple people that we knew that were like running an Eagles tailgate. We're like, "Come on in," and you go in jacked up, expecting being a opposing team, at an away game, think you're coming into like getting ready to fight people, and people from California could not have given less of a fuck. We're all like amped up, like you guys got a fucking problem. They're like, we don't care about this at all.
Yeah,
Like,
that energy is raw.
yeah, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, we have some problems.
Yeah, I went to an Angels game, which by the way, the Angels of Anaheim, because like I was living in Anaheim, so it was right down the road. I worked like around the corner.
Yeah.
I knew Trout was like a big Eagles fan.
South Jersey, but boy.
Yeah,
That's right.
South
Oh yeah,
Jersey bad boy.
Millville.
Old Millville.
Weird connection too. My shore house in Sea Isle was like it was like adjacent on the corner to a property his mom owned, and that's where they used to vacation. I didn't find out until I was an adult, but like I vacationed like right across the street
Right
from Mike
next
Trout.
door?
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, like
You
we
guys
just
could've
always
been
thought they
playing
were the
wiffle ball.
Gronkowskis. Yeah, like we were like afraid of them. We were like, dude, these guys are like too intense.
Yeah.
We would always play fucking wiffle ball right there. They could have came over and approached us, but
Yeah, my God, can you imagine if you would have recruited Mike Trout in your wiffle ball team?
Yeah. Or you could have like
Crank him
tore his
up.
ACL or something playing wiffle ball, and he would have never become the baseball player he is today.
Yeah.
All because some
my life would have been
guy and
so
his
much
drunk
better.
friend Alex just really decided to hit a fucking wiffle ball.
Got in a fight at Shenanigans. And Trout tore his ACL.
But dude,
Thanks to James Brennan.
I'm at the Angel Stadium. I wore a Dawkins jersey to like be like,
Hell
what's
yeah.
up, So it's the most like family friendly stadium
Really?
on
really?
earth. Like even drinking there, you feel like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this
Yeah.
and whatever. So
Damn.
I get to my section. I'm with my friend who's like 50 from Canada. Like he randomly was in town. He was like, let's go to a ball game. I've never been to an MLB game in my life. I'm like, whatever, I'll throw on the Dawkins jersey. We'll go see Trout. So we get to our section and I look at the lady and I'm like, look, I'll keep it rated G, but I'm yelling all game. And she goes, as long as you don't curse, you can say whatever you want. You
Okay.
know? So in that stadium, especially because it's family friendly, once the pitcher's like in his stance and getting ready, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
So as soon as that moment happened, I'm yelling all game. So there's people around me that are like opposing fans, and they're like, "Would you please stop it?" You know,
But
they're
you
like,
can't curse. You're like, both teams are trying very hard.
but there's so many Angels fans around me, and they were dying. They were like, "This is the best game I've ever been to in my entire life," because they never get that. They
brought the
just get
excitement.
Americana baseball. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I was bringing the Philly energy.
It's probably something they had to get used to as well.
Oh, my God.
Like, hey, could you keep it down while the players are trying to concentrate? You're really distracting them out there yelling, "Yo, Trout!"
But I think they were playing the Athletics, and like one of my things when I get into a Phillies game is I always like if I'm sitting anywhere close to where I'm in earshot, I'm looking up dirt on the opposing players,
Yeah.
and I'm yelling like the worst thing that ever happened in their life. To
He's
them.
got
They're
a
like,
side piece.
He's got a gun.
This guy's cheating on his wife. He's got 3 kids.
But we're in the seats, and
Like,
like
yo, chill.
we were in center to be behind Trout, and there was a dude who was the left fielder for the Oakland A's, and like his mom was going through terrible medical stuff and whatever.
Oh
So I
my
look at the
God.
whole crowd and I go like, "No one pick on him." And like everyone can hear me, and they're like, "This guy has rules."
yeah. You gotta let them know.
He has a weird sense of morals that we
Yeah.
can't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a weird heckler. He's got his own judgment zone.
The best heckle was by my bitch wife's friend, Dan Beckman, who you've met before. We were at a Reds Phillies game, and we were sitting behind the Reds dugout, and Joey Votto was in the batter's box, and he just gets up and yells. This was like the first week of the season. It's 45 degrees out. Nobody's there. 8th inning. He just gets up and from 5 rows back just screams, "Joey Votto drives a Kia." And Joey Votto turned around and he was like basically like mouthing like, "Why the fuck would you do that
Yeah,
to me?"
weird snipe. But, yeah, true. But like, what the fuck, man?
We used to do that in high school. Like if there was a basketball game and, you know, whoever the rival team is, like you go up in the stands and you'd try to just yell out the weirdest shit about the other team's players. Like when it got real quiet, you'd be like, "Number 24 sucks his big toe." And people would be like, "What the fuck?"
Damn, those PVI Camden Catholic games got pretty intense.
Yeah, man.
Well, there's nothing like those moments where like you're young enough where you can totally get away with it. Like if I'm a 33-year-old man and I went to one of those games just because I'm like, I'm an alma mater, I can
Yeah.
show up to these, and I was yelling, heckling kids. Like
That would be pretty incredible.
It's a weird moment of your life where like, you know, you're totally exempt from any fucking accountability.
Very, very true. Once you cross a certain threshold, you can no longer go to high school sports games and heckle.
Yeah.
It's never stopped, Dan.
It's never stopped. I'm a season ticket holder. Girls
Yeah?
basketball at PVI.
Nice,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Nice.
They don't throw me out. I make some weird heckles too, but I'm
I'm gonna wear this, by the way, everybody. I got mine too.
yeah. Look
That's
at this.
right. Live on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta put it on. Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Put it
fuck this
on
up.
there, dude. You're gonna bring that back to Roxborough, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, where'd you get that?"
Yeah,
at?
let's see how this
So-
this thing slides on. See, cop a feel.
When I was in California, everybody would love the Roxborough accent out of my Philly friends, and
Yeah.
they'd be like, "What are your favorite words to say?"
Yeah.
You know, because there's like whatever
some
you
good
could
ones.
say, water and whatever.
Yeah.
So my favorite one is daughter
Yeah, daughter.
and cousin. Like,
Cousin.
why do we put a T on the end of cousin?
Yeah. Cousin,
My cousin,
daughter,
my cousin,
water.
daughter.
It does cross over a bit,
Give
like
it to my cousin.
crosses over the river into South
You know
Jersey.
what
There's
else
a lot
it
of
is?
very similar.
And here, I'll hit it right now. You go, oh
Damn.
yeah,
Oh, dude, you could go bowling right now.
oh yeah, dude. That's a perfect.
Honestly, I was
that's
kind of
perfect
upset.
fit.
I was kind of upset when people were just donning it as a bowling shirt. I'm like, I'd wear this shit to dinner, dude. Are you kidding me?
Bowling shirts are the fucking tits right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Bowling
in the
shirts and new dress
summer,
shirt.
they're a little breezy. That's some good fabric
Dude,
on
I'm-
there.
You could wear that no shirt underneath
It's
this spring.
breathable.
I can already feel all the
Water-
situations that I'm going to wear this thing. In. You know what I mean?
You know what?
So it's
Baptism.
like-
That's gonna be a great shirt to wear on the
Quinceañera.
Sea Isle beach, dude, because it's
Oh,
water
hell yeah.
wicking.
Yeah, that's going to be a great sea aisle.
You could spill beer all
So
over
what?
that
What
thing.
is your guys' beach town?
Sea Isle now?
Okay, cool.
I grew
I-
up going to Wildwood, but now Sea Isle.
Word.
We grew up going all over the place. I think the most common, we probably went to Ocean City. That's where my dad's parents had a house at for a little while.
Dry town.
But
Boo.
yeah, now my sisters want nothing to do with it because they're just like, you can't fucking. The town is dead at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah. it's-
You got to bring your own shit, light up your own crack pipes. It's a whole fucking thing. So
What about you? You still hitting the Jersey Shore?
Yeah, that's like definitely our mainstay.
Sea Isle?
We used to rent from these people for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And my parents are like best friends with them.
Yeah.
So my parents retired down to Sea Isle a couple of years ago.
Oh, no way.
And then
sweet.
it was like right off Route 9, basically. So it wasn't Sea Isle, but it was like right outside.
Right.
Like right by Dino's Diner.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. But my brother started having kids, so they moved home. But their best friends still own a place at like 35th and Landis, which for all you Sea Islers out there, it's the old what's it called lighthouse spot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's like a
okay, yeah.
historic corner, but like
Yeah.
this
Right
dude
across from the
owns it.
beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like right there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
But the bars are right there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right in the middle of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
mayhem.
Dude,
there.
it really brings me back. We went back this past summer. We just went with my family and stuff, but like there was something so magical when you were a teenager, early 20s, just going out with your friends, you know, walking around in Sea Isle, you know, talking to a bunch of like chicks your age, and you go out with like a group of 30 of your guy friends. You hit the beach the next day, you get absolutely wasted. Like it was a really magical time in my life doing that.
Damn. See, now I didn't really do that because we didn't know anybody with houses down there. We would go get hammered for the day and then drive drunk home.
Yeah.
So, but you know, an hour drive, it was a bit of a bitch. But
You had no
You
thought.
might as well be from Roxborough.
You had no thought, no ambition of like, you know, worrying about what you got to get done or shit that you got to do. You were
Nice.
just down the shore that summer. It's summertime. You're just really worried about getting fucked up and having fun.
Yeah.
you got to bring those days back.
It's hard to do that now.
No,
you're
it
always
really
thinking
is.
about shit you got to do.
So
Yeah.
if you're going back down for the day,
Yeah.
go to Swarthmore, which is
I've
actually
heard Swarthmore is a good time.
So Swarthmore, there's no lifeguard on the beach.
Okay.
So you can just bring your shit down. Everyone knows that that's the spot. So as long as you're respectful, you
Yeah.
bring your own solo cups to put your
You can
shit
drown
in.
in peace.
As long as you clean up everything when you
peace.
leave,
Yeah.
like nobody bothers you. So
That's good.
Swarthmore's the day spot.
Swarthmore. Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember I was such a fucking loser around that age that like I
same.
never got that moment in the sun in Sea Isle. Like I was so afraid of what women thought of me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, in fairness, looking back, we were talking to no women. We were walking by a lot of them and just like thinking of shit that you would say, but we
Yeah.
weren't actually saying anything that was like
Yeah.
getting them to come over and talk to us.
You just say something as they
But
already
you thought
passed
about it. You go, man, she would have liked that if I would have
Yeah.
thought it to
Just
say.
tell all your buddies like, oh, I was gonna say this, but then this came up.
Yeah,
I felt it.
if you looked at the accuracy, like looking back, it was mostly striking out. But man, like you really romanticize things after you.
well, it's funny.
Go
I was
past it.
so jealous of like the rich kids that I knew because they would get time down the shore.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I was poor as fuck growing up. You
Yeah.
know, I'm kind of still poor now.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like it was always funny. Like they would talk about their summer moments, and I'm like, dude, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they would always
not
get
saying
hooked
I
up.
would have, like done anything more than them, but like,
No, I know
just,
what
like,
you mean, though. It's a different experience. They get hooked up. They're like, yeah, my parents have a house down there. We can wash off the outdoor shower that they have. It's right across from the beach. And you're like, no. This is a whole different thing. We all drove down covered in sand in one fucking car,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
piled
that
in
sand's
together.
gonna be in my car for 6 months.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Like,
had no place to stay. Slept on somebody's fucking floor.
yeah.
Slept on somebody's floor, drove back, started sweating your balls off on Ridge Ave again.
You're all
fucking.
you're so chafed up, dude, that you
Yeah.
can't
Oh,
walk
that's
for a
always the
goddamn
worst.
week
Yeah.
afterward.
I only had one shore friend, and his parents were like very salt of the earth too. So like we got along like super well. He was like a college friend, but his dad was the original producer for Star Wars for all of like the artwork. So that was
shit.
back in the
Whoa.
day where you're doing like still frame work, where like he was an expert at the lighting and all this shit.
Damn.
And then they make like Adobe products, and he was just out of a job. He was like no one. They lost the house. It was
Holy
like,
shit.
dude, it was terrible. Where
I was
like,
gonna say he's got to be set for life, but apparently not.
yeah, dude, I love his parents and I love him, but I'm like, we lost the house. You know what I mean?
How could
Like,
you do this to us?
Yeah, how could you do this to me? It was way more selfish than that.
Right.
I was like, dude, I only had one shore friend. Like,
Yeah,
fuck.
right.
Like now
Yeah.
I'm
That would be a great sketch. Your buddy loses, his family loses the house.
How could
down
your
at
dad
Seattle.
do this to me?
I'm calling his employers and be like, are you guys sure? Like,
Right.
he could do something else. I don't know.
You're writing a resume
What
for
other
him.
jobs do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're calling up George Lucas, just being like, "The fuck is your problem? You
Yeah.
know what that house meant to me."
I know, but like obviously it would never happen with comedy, and we'll get into comedy in a minute. But like, yeah, just like AI taking your job, like it's a robot on the stage telling the jokes. Like that's how it was to him. He was like,
Yeah.
it was tragic. Where he's just like, dude, this is an art, and they were like, yeah, an Adobe art product.
Right.
Yeah,
Easier.
Yeah.
It does your job in 10 minutes,
It
and
really-
it's like fuck.
And like, man, there's probably so many people that happened to with, losing their jobs. And specifically with movies, it's like everything's so digital now, whereas like there was something so cool back in the day, the way that they shot things on film. And I guess it's just cheaper now to do it digital and all that stuff. But I'm like, movies, they don't look as good. Like it was cooler back then, the way that they used to do it.
Yeah, it's almost as if it's a lost art, if you will. It definitely is. Yeah, it's just so much cheaper, like you said, to do it. It can definitely hit that stuff way easier than it can comedy. I mean, I tried doing it with the I tried using it to write something. And I was like, no, this isn't gonna, it just doesn't pan out. And I turned that itself into its own joke, but it still hasn't gotten there. It just doesn't understand that. I don't know what it is. The human context of things. It can do a little play on words, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
There's some magic between a joke, but then also like the way that you tee it up and connecting with a person or an audience to make it. I mean, it's the same. Like if you picture yourself, right? You like, Dan and I do stand up, and if you just read your jokes on paper, and if you just read it, I have a joke that I do in my act. If I just read it to you right now, plain, it's not going to hit the same. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way it works with AI, where it's like, sure, it might be technically doing some of the things, but it's like the connection's not.
There's no human element.
They can't
you know
do
what I mean?
that.
Yeah.
You have to deliver it in a way. You have to connect in a way.
Yeah, even just watching specials on TV now, I mean, you lose half of the value by watching it on TV as opposed to being there live.
Yeah.
I watch so many specials where I don't fucking budge, but in person, I'd probably be cracking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that weird difference that
Do you
can't
ever have
touch.
that, Dan, where it's like you do a show, you have a set, and you're like in the moment. This felt incredible. It was a great set, dude. Like feeling the connection. You could just feel it. You're like, man, I'm on it today. And then you watch the tape back, and you're like, this is not translating at all. It just doesn't, sound as good.
Yeah, go back and watch the tape, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna off myself.
So that's why it's so hard to get. I gotta imagine. I mean, I've never put together a special, but it's so hard to get a good tape and put together a special because it's like.
That's why they chop up specials from 3 or 4 different shows. I don't know why I specifically remember that from T.J. Miller filmed a special, I think at the Troc. He might have filmed it somewhere in Philly. I believe it was at the Trocadero, where he took 3 different shows and combined them into one special. But at the beginning of the special, he poured a bottle of water on himself, the water that was on the stool. So his shirt has water stains all over it throughout the entire thing. One shot, you see stains one way on his shirt. The next shot, there's different stains. And they cut back and forth throughout the same joke, and there's different stains.
And they didn't notice that. Wow.
And it was bothering the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
like, dude,
yeah.
if you're shooting a special, why would you do that? Like, you
Right.
can clearly see they're from different shows.
Yeah, in terms of continuity, if you start out the show pouring water on yourself. So, speaking of which, tell us about your podcast.
Yeah.
I know that
cool.
you just kind of started it up, and that's how we got connected, was talking about getting into podcasting.
Yeah, so always been a giant fan of comedy. For the longest time, so many people have itched me and my best friend to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like throughout the years, like when we were kids, we filmed like this movie that people liked, and then like this is like pre-YouTube, pre-anything.
That's kind of how it started with me, with my interest in comedy. It was just like filming dumb shit with my friends.
Yeah, same here. I think, man, we're all doing the same. We're at the same Eagles games in LA. We're doing the same skits on YouTube.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah. Like we're gonna find weird shit even deeper that we have in common, but we're just scratching the surface. But yeah, so it always was there, but I was like in public accounting years ago. So that's what brought me out to California, actually, the first time.
Public
Oh, wow.
accounting.
Yeah, public accounting.
So what is
Do
public?
not strike me as a public accountant, if I got to be honest with you.
Nah, dude.
What
I
is
thought
a
you were
pub-
out in
I look like
California.
the guy who's selling them weed.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you look like you're running a surf
yeah.
shop out in California.
What is a public
Especially in that
accountant do?
shirt now.
Yeah. You're looking like a
Exactly.
private accountant now,
Yeah.
dude. You're just What's the difference between a public and a private? Like, what were you doing as a
It's
public
publicly
accountant?
traded
Public
companies.
yeah,
yeah,
public
yeah.
company.
So that's the only
Oh,
difference.
okay.
But I mean, they still do like individual tax returns and all this other
Gotcha.
crazy shit. But yeah, it was just kind of like my first job out of college, and
Nice.
it was like I did have a couple connections, and then it brought me out to the East Coast and or West Coast, but in the East Coast, everybody was a dick.
Yeah.
And it sucked.
Yeah.
And it was just a horrible environment to work in. You didn't get paid overtime for working like 100 hours
And
a
you
week.
work,
Like, it
I was going to
nuts.
say, you work a ton of overtime as an
it was,
accountant.
and they would always be like, well, in the summertime, it'll be slow. And then that's what you make. And it's like, no, you guys ask more in the fucking free time than when
Yeah.
I'm in fucking
Yeah, and
tax
I
season.
don't want to just go off of like, oh, it'll balance itself out.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm probably working so much more overtime, and then like your downtime is probably very little.
Yeah, but in California, they have like a workers' law where you have to get paid overtime.
That's what's
So
up.
when I moved out there, all my friends hated me because they're like, fuck you, we're working the same hours and you're making more money than me
Yeah.
now. And I was like, dude, it's not me. But yeah, I hit a point where my partners loved me. They were the nicest people ever. I was just this, guy who came from like a cutthroat situation. And I was like, I don't even really want to be here. But if they send me to California, fuck it, I'll hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then this dude, John Eckweiler, shout out to John Eckweiler.
Shout out to John.
But yeah, he sat me down for like a 5-year plan meeting one day, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm resigning. And he was like, what the
In
fuck?
the moment, or
Yeah,
have you
like,
been thinking about it?
Like, I mean, I had been thinking about it, but I was just like, I don't want to lead him on anymore. Like, he was such a nice dude and all that other stuff. But
Wow.
yeah, so that's when I took my step. But now I've worked like, a ton of construction jobs. I've been a bartender since I was 18, so like I still bartend all the
cool.
time.
Damn.
Yeah.
do,
Nice.
do you do it in Roxborough?
No, actually up in Bluebell,
Okay.
Whip Pain Tavern. Shout out to the Whip.
What is it?
Let's get all the shout outs out.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
What is it?
The Whip Pain Tavern.
The Whipping Town?
yeah, it's
Tavern?
on 202.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I've been up
Wait,
around
so
there.
all right, so you're working this job, and was it just one of those things? I'm sure we can all relate to. My God, trust me. But like, you graduate from college, you're working as an accountant, you're just doing the 9 to 5, and you're just like, there's just got to be more to life to this that
yeah.
I want to start to do. And then you just were like, you know what, dude, like, fuck it, I'm gonna take the risk. And
Yeah. Well, I was already in California that I wasn't really sure on anyway. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I definitely didn't want to go back to my office in Philly. Like, I already fucking hated all them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, what do I do? I think I just hang it up,
yeah,
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I was going to be like a pro skateboarder.
No
Like
way.
I went out before pro, you know what I mean? So like I was never like there or
Yeah.
anything. But so like my dream was California as a kid,
Yeah.
like being a skateboarder and all that other shit. But
Yeah.
I would,
once
I would go out there with the dream of just getting on Tony Hawk's Underground.
Oh my
like,
God.
holy shit.
Well, and when you're younger too, especially, I gotta imagine if you are interested in skateboarding, like the allure of California is just so intoxicating.
Oh,
where you're like,
yeah.
dude, it just seems so.
Did you skateboard while you lived there? Like out at like Venice Beach or something?
So I was like playing golf when I was there. I was an
Oh.
accountant and I was playing golf.
Oh,
I was
you were
like, dude,
chilling, dude.
yeah, but like now 33-year-old, that's chilling. But like
Yeah.
18-year-old me would be like, if you ever play golf or do any accounting, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Were you playing golf to like schmooze and network? Because that's like
yeah, well, that's kind of how it started. But
Yeah.
now I fucking love golf. I'm fucking obsessed with golf, and I
Yeah.
can't stop thinking about it all the goddamn time.
Yep.
So
Brendan had a bit of a golfer's itch this past summer too.
yeah,
This
I
past
suck,
summer.
but I love it. you know?
Exactly, yeah. I'm the guy that's starting to gather all of the gear while not improving any of my game.
Oh yeah. I'm the guy with the oldest gear you've ever seen, and I'm like one shot of the day. Like all of my other shots will suck, but I'll hit a shot that impresses like good golfers, and they're
Right.
like, "Whoa, what was that?" Or like a 55-foot putt, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "That's it for me."
Yeah.
You hit that one and you're like, damn, this game is so easy. If I could just do that
I could just
every
replicate that.
time,
Yeah.
I'd be on the tour.
Yeah.
But it's
Kick
just,
him off the tour, Doug.
yeah.
to go real quick.
But yeah. Eventually, I came back to Philly. Whatever, I'm in construction now. So the guys that I work for are like the super nicest and coolest dudes. So when Shane Steichen was still the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, they built his house.
Oh, no way.
So
nice.
that's when he left. I forget where he went. Did he go to the Colts?
I
I think so. In Indianapolis. I think he went to Indianapolis.
Okay.
But
could remember.
so he sold the house to Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts currently lives in that house.
Oh,
so
no
it's
way.
like, yeah, the guys I work for built that house. So like that's super
that's
cool.
pretty neat.
Now,
Yeah,
is the construction, is it like residential construction around like a specific
it's
area?
just for fucking rich people, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Like it's the total other side of life that I've never seen.
And are you
ever.
just doing like general construction, like a bunch of different stuff,
like
or is
whatever?
it like a...
I'll do the dumbest shit they ask me to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we do really cool shit, and it's always something different every day,
Yeah.
which is really cool. But
So do you feel happy that you were like, you got out of accounting?
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like honestly, even getting back to the AI thing, like we were having weekly meetings about like what was the one that Microsoft invented? It was like
They helped fund OpenAI, which is ChatGPT.
yeah.
Oh,
so it
yeah.
was a tax program. It was called Watson. Do you remember?
Oh
Watson?
yeah, Watson was on like Jeopardy and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
IBM.
Watson was taking like kids like me coming out of college and being like, let's do a tax return. Okay, Watson's already done. What have you done? And you're like, oh my
You're like,
god.
I took a shit when I first got into the office. Haven't even
I'm
started.
messaging Brendan. Yo,
Yeah.
did you see that stupid shit earlier? Like in the company chat thing.
Haven't started my day yet. My God.
That was the first, I guess, introduction to AI in some form was Watson with IBM and everything, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So that had
the
to-
writing was on the wall where I'm like, this shit's gonna end anyway.
I'm gonna
But like,
snake another brew. Don't stop talking. Sorry.
please grab me.
Would you want to grab me one, whatever the fuck you got? in there?
Yeah, whatever it is.
That had to scare the areolas off your tits, though, huh? Seeing that, you're like, oh
I mean,
fuck.
You just knew it wasn't gonna last. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Unless you're committed for life.
Yeah,
And I was
exactly.
like, dude, I want to hang for like a couple more years and get out of here clean.
Yeah.
But now
Got
that
it.
I've learned all this, thank you, sir. Now that I've learned all the construction shit, like I'm eventually gonna have my own company where I'm building like tiny houses.
Oh wow.
And
Like in the storage unit?
Brother,
type?
you
Not
were-
storage unit, the containers, like tiny
no,
things.
ones that are on trailers.
Yeah,
but
you were
that's
speaking my language, dude.
Yeah.
I've gone down so many YouTube rabbit holes of wanting to do this shit.
yeah.
So what would you do? How would you...
So initially, when we came up upon thinking about this, when I left California and that public accounting job, I was going to start a farm in Oregon with one of my best friends.
Whoa.
And he ended up like going off the deep end. Like even his own family's like, we don't know where he is. What's going on? But COVID hit at the same time.
Okay.
So
That's happened to people.
I came home from California and I was like, all right, let's just like kind of get things back together and do whatever. But
Kind of thank God.
oh yeah, kind of thank God. You know what I mean? But we were looking into how would you live on a farm, and the tiny house thing popped up, and then we both got obsessed with tiny houses.
Yeah.
He actually went down to Maryland. He was working for a tiny house company for a long time. But
Just building tiny houses.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I have this guy who is a regular at my bar, but like he never had kids, never got married or anything. So he's sitting on like a mountain of money, owns his own business. So he's like, fuck it, let's do it together. So like I'm pretty close to that right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
that's so awesome.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got to
that's-
teach me how to build a tiny house.
Oh, dude, yeah,
My
it's sick.
big dream coming up the next couple of years is I want to build a shed, but like a cool like tiny house shed in my backyard.
Yeah.
So if you could just like take some time off and teach me how to do that, that would be
We
phenomenal.
just do it on a Saturday with a case of Bud Light seltzers
Fuck
or
yeah.
Michelob
So
Ultra,
I started
whatever you
working
want, dude.
construction a little bit myself part time, like so that I could learn the skills to like whatever shit just as a homeowner breaks around
yeah.
the house, or if I want to
There's
build
always something.
If I want to build something cool, I'm like you watch other guys do it, and I'm like I'm seeing them do it. I have an able body, I have an able mind. Like I just need somebody to tell me how to do this stuff. And I was doing it for a little while, but I was, burning the candle at both ends, so I had to eventually stop.
Yeah.
But, dude, I love that stuff.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Have
But-
you built any tiny houses yet?
No. So there's a lot of like coding restrictions now with that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So there's a guy out of Utah that sells the trailers. So that's my guy. I've talked to him since maybe in like 2017, maybe
Okay.
whatever. And he's still doing it. So we're going to start off with him. We're going to get some trailers back here, and then we're going to start doing a couple builds probably by like early summer.
Dude,
Oh, that's pretty
so
sweet.
cool.
Yeah, so
Is it
it's
like
very
state
exciting.
regulations on it or like city ordinance
Well,
type
that's
of
the other
things?
thing too. So the first couple that you make are basically like models for other people to look at.
Yeah.
Then you have to make some that you're putting out as like Airbnbs
Sure.
and rental properties and other stuff. which is also a showing, if you will. You know what I mean? They're staying there, but they're getting a free experience and like, whoa, this is fucking cool.
And will you do like a YouTube channel and film the process?
Yeah, there's gonna have to be a whole thing. But so back in the day, there was this 3D programming thing. It's called SketchUp SketchUp, and you know, it was very cool. It was very in depth. There was a million things you could do, but everything took forever. So now I have these guys in New Zealand who just like totally jumped through the whole process. They built everything from SketchUp as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you can transfer them back into SketchUp to make like tiny adjustments and all this other stuff. Cool. Yeah. So I just met up with them like a month ago.
Damn. What is it, like blueprints you're like using on the app?
Yeah, but it's
just
also
like seeing the 3D like visual of like whatever they build.
Yeah, and way more user friendly. So like, let's just say, you know, you're somebody that sees one of my tiny houses and goes, well, I want one, but with a little touch. That's my personal touch. You can customize. Now I don't have to deal with them for 50 alterations. I go, no, go in the app, do your thing, send it back to me. And then if that's what you want, pay me.
Oh, that's
you know
cool.
what I mean? So it's like, it makes it way easier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
how much does it cost to build? Like, what are your costs? Have you estimated that? Like, what will it cost you to build one?
Like to build it like a standard tiny home.
Yeah, so like obviously there's factors, right? There's the land that you put it on, which whatever.
The trailer.
The trailer you put it on, the size of the trailer, whatever, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But like for something that would be like livable for one person is really not crazy. It's like 15 grand.
I was gonna say it's probably around 20.
Yeah.
So okay.
And then what would you just have to pay the property taxes on whatever the land is like per year?
Yeah. So
once it's built.
But the beautiful thing is because it's on a trailer, the property taxes don't go up. So if I bought a parcel of land and the property tax is $80 a year because there's nothing the fuck on it, and then I throw a big tiny house on it, it's still $80 a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Damn. So that's like the footprint angle. So like for the real estate side of it, like some of these properties hopefully will pay themselves off. Like we're gonna make bigger ones, like 400 plus square feet ones and whatever, you know, like to make it like available for, like I said, like Airbnbs and whatever. But you know, like sometimes people go into those things and go like, wow, like this is a dream of mine to live in something I never knew it could be this nice.
Yeah.
How much does it cost? Okay, it's $130. Well, I could buy a house for $130 somewhere I hate, or I could pick where I want to live and then put this here. You know what I mean? So
or you can just find one of the many abandoned strip malls in South Jersey and park it one of those fucking
We filmed
parking
a
lots.
sketch there. We filmed our car commercial sketch where
by the way,
where the diner burnt
awesome.
down. Thank you.
I loved it.
Dude, it's been a huge hit. Have you been seeing like some of the random people liking the video?
Yeah.
We've had like we had one of the top 10 tennis players in the world. What the fuck's his name?
I forget his name, but
he's from Voorhees, New Jersey, so he must have came across his algorithm.
Hit his algorithm.
Fuck, I'm not a big Tommy Paul. That's his name. I'm not a big tennis guy, but I saw that he liked it, which is pretty cool.
But awesome.
Kate from Barstool liked it.
Oh, nice.
There was the Fallon digital director did.
Yeah, there was a dude from Jimmy Fallon that liked it. It's been really popping off, dude. It got us like
300,000 on
like
Instagram.
300,000 views, like 500 more Instagram followers on the Instagram the South Jersey Bad Boys Instagram account.
Yeah.
So we got some more ideas in the works for that.
Yeah. We're going to have to spin that off into other, we'll do that commercial for tiny homes.
Well, it was funny. So the first time that, like I knew that there was like the pre-clip. So I had seen the pre-clip already. And then I thought I was pulling up the pre-clip and I was like doing something. I was like in the bathroom or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was the actual.
It was the actual one.
Yeah, it was the actual one. So it was running, but I couldn't see your guys' faces. So I was just listening to you. So like, I remember I cracked up when you were like, Patrick Mahomes is gay. Like that
was a crowd favorite.
Yeah, I laughed out loud and fucking.
People like the accent on that specifically.
Yeah,
too.
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes. You hit the hard O.
I also like same thing. Like I couldn't see it the entire way through the first time. So like, Dan, when you were like, dude, my mom's gonna cancel the lease. I remember cracking the fuck up then too. I was like, that's so fucking funny.
I didn't realize until somebody actually spelled out the way that I said at the end there, right off of 42 in Deptford. And the way I just said that, I felt like in a normal voice, but then somebody commented like spelling out how I enunciated it, and they were like right off like OFFA and Deptford like DEFFO. Yeah, I was like, oh fuck, I was like that naturally. I didn't even think I did a good job job at that accent, but it seems like
it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I must have watched it like over and over, like probably like 15 times.
I think that's what helped made it do a lot better than it did. Is I heard from a dozen different people I know that they watched it 20 something times.
Yes, and I think that there's a whole like metric for like what makes a good clip nowadays, but like you guys kept it short and sweet, and that's what made it.
We tightened it the fuck up.
Oh
yeah. We had a lot that we had to cut from that because like we just were in a parking lot for like 45 minutes saying the crazy shit, and so we like put it together and we're like, all right, this is cracking us up, but like we have 5 minutes worth of us saying batshit crazy stuff. We got to cut some shit out.
And we said it on here before, but it's worth repeating. And that is the least amount of effort we've put into anything we filmed.
And look at it. It's fucking
easily
incredible.
The most successful video we've
also you grabbing the gun and being like, hey, and tucking it.
And that was just a last minute thing that Dan was like, let's try this. And we're like, okay. And it winds up being like one of our favorite things.
Dude, I was like, once I could physically see the video, like, because the first time I heard it, like, didn't register, but then rewatching that, I was like, that's genius. That's just
there's so many things
comedy,
we just came up with in the moment.
Yeah,
because we were just like, let's just try. And that always winds up being like, we've done a handful of sketches over the years. Whenever we're just like dicking around, being like, try this, try that, and like without a script, it winds up being the
best thing from it.
Fun.
My buddy's a mechanic at Nissan and at a dealership over in South Jersey here, and he's like, I didn't even have to send it to people at my dealership. He's like, I just saw them and watched them and heard them playing it.
No way.
And the amazing. GM at a Nissan dealership sent it to all of his sales guys and was like, watch these fucking jackasses.
That's
like
amazing.
The dealership, some girl whose dad owns a dealership asked us if we would start making videos for the dealership.
Oh my god!
I'm like, what do you want us to do? Like, you realize we're like gonna say the most insane shit. Like, it's not gonna exactly be a nice plug for your business.
I thought she was gonna be like, oh, it's all right. We'll run them at like 3 a.m. on like a public access channel. No one gives a fuck. Like, say whatever you want. Like, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But if somebody asks us to do it for their business, it's like, okay, great. You realize you watched the video, right? Like we mentioned trannies. We said Mahomes is gay. There's a gun. What do you? It's 14% interest rates.
If I don't sell this car, I'm going to kill myself.
Exactly.
People just see something doing well, and they're like, oh, we would like to get 300,000 views on a video we put out.
But you never know what that's going to be.
Yeah.
Which is the beautiful part about it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean,
I'm sure when you guys showed up, like, you didn't think, like, it was going to be what it was. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you knew it was funny, which is good.
No, you're right. It never does. Like, you always have an idea going into it, and then after you're done, it winds up being, something completely different than what you thought. And a lot of times, like, for the better, you're like, oh, it's not exactly how I envisioned it, but, like, it turned out good.
Yeah.
It was like a crash course of multiple things, though. The Eagles with the local references, with all that stuff tied together.
The timing of that was really advantageous.
Yeah. Thursday before the Super
Which
Bowl.
we planned on doing because we did one of these years ago. Not quite as like extensive, but we had a couple things that really made us laugh from that, where we did like it was when Joe Burrow it was when the Bengals were playing
the Rams, I think.
The Rams in the Super Bowl. So we did like a similar car commercial, and there was just a couple things that really made us laugh. It's not like it went crazy on the internet, but we were like, Joe Burrow bought a vehicle off of us one time, and we had something about like he was banging my wife and whatever, and like, we just were like, so we're like, we got to run that back. And then for we get in the Super Bowl this year, we're like, this is the perfect time to run it back.
Yeah,
and like we're like, we got to put it out like during the week of, right before the Super Bowl hits, because not during the Super Bowl when like everyone's watching the game.
Yeah.
So we put it out a couple days prior,
and that was genius too. Like I remember, and like I said, like I just thought I was rewatching the clip.
Yeah,
because I was excited for the, you know what I mean. So it came up, and I was like, "Yeah, let it run." Like, fuck it, you know what I mean. But it was the real thing, and I was a little shocked. I was like, "Oh, this is early, but this is like this is awesome."
You were in early on it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's pretty great.
My favorite part of the video is easily the song. I've been obsessed.
You put that on everything now.
With the song
I downloaded
Gloria.
it. It's on my phone.
It's on my phone. I've been using it as my walk-up song at all of my stand-up shows.
What is it? What's the song?
It's
Gloria.
Oh, dude, it was just on your post earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm using it on everything. It's a banger, dude.
Fucking amazing song.
It's just a classic 80s ballad. It's a fucking banger, dude.
Tried and true, dude.
I don't even know how it popped into my head, but I'm like, this is the song for this.
Yeah. I do got to say to you guys too, it was funny, like once we like did get in touch and I like started like watching your podcast and everything. I remember like I was in my car for one of the first episodes I listened to, and it was the first time that I heard the South Jersey Bad Boys. And like the first time I heard it, I was like, what the hell? And then like a week later, I'm driving around being like, South Jersey.
That's what happens to people.
Dude, it's fucking,
It gets stuck in your head,
You hit something with
dude.
that too, yeah.
It's
I
like
don't
the
know how
car
you did it with
commercials
that.
where you're like, they're so bad, but it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, but it's so good. Now I can't fucking, you know what I mean? Every time I think of your show, I
That's what I do while driving too. I'm just making a casual left turn while cutting off just 10 people at an intersection and
with the
causing
bird out the window.
Yeah, 3-car pileup. South Jersey bad boy.
Jersey
You just gotta say, anytime you make a bad boy move, anytime you do something a bad boy would do.
The jingle is stuck in the people's heads. My buddy's wife said that she'll catch him just like in the bathroom going, South Jersey man.
Well, I guess you know, for the people that whatever are going to watch for me, like that don't know you guys.
Yeah.
So this is a two-parter. So one, how did you guys become friends?
Yeah.
And two, how did you decide that like we should be doing a podcast together?
Yeah.
You know?
Great question, James.
It all started at that one Roman bathhouse in South Philly. But, what were you gonna say?
I looked over and I said, this guy's got just a fellow small penis.
We could really hit something combined.
Yeah.
We got about 6.5 inches.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude,
We could make some waves.
We always used to joke it's micropenile syndrome, MPS, if you weren't aware.
That's right.
14 people nationwide. That's how we became.
We're
We met at a meeting.
Part of the 1%.
Yeah.
But no, I guess the first time we met was doing stand up is how we met.
Okay.
Yeah, we were doing it through Joel, I want to say, probably, but like
We must have. Yeah, there's this guy Soul Joel that runs. He's got his own comedy club now. But that was probably the first gig that we did together. And then just from like the open mic scene in Philly.
yeah, it was the first.
So how old were both of you? Like,
So I'm only a year older than Brendan, so
24, 25?
we did that. Yeah, so we were 7 years, so 24 and 25 probably.
Yeah.
I lived in Philly for a number of years, and I only started it like when I was living in South Philly. I should have started it way earlier. I would go to open mics and watch them because I wanted to get an idea of like, what do these knuckleheads do when you go to an open mic? Like, how does this work? There's no playbook. There's nothing you go by that'll tell you this is what you do. So I would go to open mics just by myself and would like hang out and watch. I'd be like one of the only people that would be there. They're like, wait, you're not signing up. What are you doing here? Like, why are you watching open mic comedy? I would go to Helium because there'd be more people there. And I'd watch stuff and I'd be like, okay, I feel like I can do this. So it took me a couple of years to muster up the courage to do that. But once I started doing that, Brendan and I got on the same show together. It was at Patty Wax on South Street. And then from there, we just were, intersecting. But we would do shows a lot together. And then just always living close by, we would go, tag along, get a couple of guys, go to one mic, one show.
And then so next thing you know, we know each other for years in comedy. And the way we started the podcast was Dan had started. So I had started my own solo podcast, and I just didn't like really know exactly where I was going with it. And then Dan was doing this podcast where he would put weird leftovers in like weird shit, and then he would just what would you put it on Facebook Marketplace?
I would put it on Facebook Marketplace, so I was easy enough to where if it was gonna flop and I wasted somebody's time, I wouldn't feel as bad if it was Brendan versus somebody I didn't know.
When you mean leftovers,
Leftover food,
leftover.
Food.
So
perishables.
Yeah. At the beginning of the pandemic,
People would buy it. And Dan made a podcast out of it.
I made a
That's fucking
podcast out
wild.
of it. I still have it, but I just haven't done anything with it because like I would hit roadblocks with it. But when I started,
because there'd be times where you're like, oh, okay, not everyone's
Nothing
gonna
happened.
buy spaghetti out of a bowling ball.
so when Brendan was over, we posted a photo of like a half-eaten pan of brownies, and we put it on Facebook Marketplace, and you put it on there, and then we're like, all right, let's just sit back, we'll bullshit podcast style, and wait for messages to come in.
Yeah.
And then messages just started coming in, and people would say the most insane shit.
Yeah.
Some of them would be joking, some of them would be serious.
Put your foot on it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what?
Okay.
All right.
10 out of the first 10 episodes I did, I think I had maybe 15 the first 10 I did, I delivered food to 7 out of 10 people.
So Dan's no stranger to inviting weird people into his home.
Or going to people's houses.
This was a calculated risk.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so then we were like, why don't we just do a podcast together?
Why don't we just do
Dan's
it?
delivering weird food to strangers. I'm doing a podcast by myself. We're
Yeah.
like, we should just link up and do this together.
So then, we did start it out by having it over there. We had the 2-camera setup, right? We had both of our cameras, and we since have gotten using just a 4K shot now. But so we started over there, just evolved it a little bit, cornered out the little studio here. Inherited an old TV that we can bring shit up on.
And, here we are. But so, which brings me back to yourself and your podcast, because you had started, just kind of a little bit about, how you guys were starting it up and like what it's about, but didn't quite finish.
Yeah, my bad.
No, all good.
Right
I just want to make sure that you plug your pod as you're putting it out.
I appreciate it. Hold on. Well, cheers on that one.
Yeah, of course.
Hell yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, so
I'll transfer it.
what's the podcast all about? You said it was a little comedy, little tiny home, little...
So the podcast itself is called the Selling Out Podcast.
Okay.
And Joe and I, since we were kids, like we always said, like if we ever got the chance to sell out, we'd fucking do it. It didn't matter if we had to betray each other, even though we're best friends. We'd fucking sell out however we could.
Yeah.
So when I was still in California the second time, I was about to come home, and he was like, "I'm about to move to Boston. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." And we were like, we've always wanted to do this podcast together. And I had kind of given up on like the whole like professional side of life, because I was actually about to get a job with the IRS, going back like to a nice desk job and whatever, like pension, whatever.
Good timing on not accepting that.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, I'm so glad that didn't happen. Like in hindsight, Yeah. But yeah, like I just kind of said, like there's nothing left to lose anymore. Like it's kind of one of the only reasons I didn't do stand up, or I didn't do a podcast, or I didn't do anything. I felt like professionally I was trying to save some face of, I don't want somebody to reject me or fire me on a job just because I'm dropping the F-bomb every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like
That's always good. I feel like people should do that more, because so many people are so afraid that someone at work is going to hear them say something like that, as if anybody you work with hasn't ever said, done, or thought anything. It's just you had the courage to put it out online to try and entertain people or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we're at 32 episodes.
Oh,
so,
nice.
I mean,
that's great.
It's
dude.
about 35 hours of footage altogether. You know what I mean? So that whole like camera shot.
Once you get past like 10 episodes too, it's like usually that lasts.
Yeah, and we have like a neighborhood following from the get-go. But like I said, like we just had to rebrand and do all this shit, where like now the podcast page is down to like 0 followers, 0 views. So like we're going through this whole new revamp, which like is exciting, because it's putting the life back in all of us. Because our producer, he just had a kid, and the baby was actually in the hospital. Kyle Jr. Chef Kyle Jr.
Kyle.
He was in the hospital for like a whole extra month from when he was born.
Oh God.
So like that was like a whole fucking thing.
Yeah,
of course.
And then Joe is so busy with the acting, like. He literally shoots like a movie a month.
Oh, he's an actor?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I guess just to speak on him real quick. He was in this movie called Crystal Lake. That was fucking sick.
No way. Wait, what's his name?
Joe Tyler.
Okay.
So his last name's Laporte, but his like camera name is Joe Tyler.
Gotcha.
But, he was in, this movie Crystal Lake, which like is basically like a Jason Voorhees kind of thing. Like, shout out to Jersey again.
Yeah, a little Voorhees action.
Yeah, but so that actually premiered. You know who Kevin Smith is, right?
Yeah.
Bob, whatever. So have you heard of his like theater that he has in North Jersey?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What's it? I forget what it's called. It's
He works at a theater down. He has some ties to one down in Pittman as well.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about though. Cause he's had some shows there.
Yeah, but like I went to that premiere. I actually worked that premiere, but that was sick. But in Crystal Lake, there's sorry, just to bring this up real quick. It's there's this guy Tyler Jones Palmer.
Okay.
And a couple years ago, like the kind of like how you worked out with like the Eagles stuff, like he was like on every Eagles game in a commercial.
Oh, really?
And he was like, that totally gave me like a huge pop. It was him and Carson Wentz. Like, I forget what he is. He's like walking off the field and he's like, "Hey Carson, come with me," and whatever. But like we'll talk in a minute about like, you know, like what that was for you, because that must have been like a super cool experience.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, but yeah, Joe's acting. He's already like winning awards and doing super cool shit. It's something.
Get out of here.
So like we kind of hit a stride at the same time. He was like, I want to go do this, and we should also do a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
And is the pod just kind of you guys as friends, just kind of, you know,
yeah, just bullshitting and talking about
same way this is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like pound for pound.
great.
But like I said, like I've always wanted to get into doing comedy, and like I said, so many people have told me to do it. Like I remember the first time I was in Roman, and we had this lady, Miss Brown. She was like the theater teacher, and I was working a job at this restaurant, and she was like, "You got to quit and do the play because like you're just too funny." And I was like, "I just can't do it." You know what I mean? Like whatever. I was not about that at the time. I was just like, I'm about the grind, whatever. Saving up money to go drink on fucking, you know, Thursday and Friday with my boys, like whatever. But we had this skit in a comedy class, and it was called The Bench. So it's you start on the bench, and then somebody else comes up and sits down with you on the bench. And it just so happened to be one of my best black friends from high school, Sean Overton. So he comes over, he sits down on the bench, and the goal of the game is that the person who sits down has to say something. It goes back and forth in between you and that person. You're only allowed to say one sentence, and it can't be a question. And it has to get to a point where somebody has to leave, right?
Yep.
So Sean sits down, and he goes, "What's up, cutie?" And I go, "Hey, Dad." And he just gets up and walks away. And she was like, "I've been doing this game for like 20 years. And like, that was fucked up. And that was awesome." And she's like, "Your brain is adept for things like this." You know what I mean? She's like, "You should definitely, you know, think about doing things like this." And she was the first person that was pushing me, like, we're right in the city. Go down the street to the comedy club.
Man.
Like, you're this young. Like, you should be doing it. And I just, like, I always regretted that I didn't do it. But
You still got some time.
yeah, I got time. I got time.
Get in
You can
there.
start, and I am very much a believer of like it is never too late for anything.
Yeah. And
Just start doing it.
And the podcast was kind of like, you know, the Kickstarter to that, where like I was dealing with other stuff in my own personal life right now, where like I'm getting back on like a good path.
Sure.
Your boy's out of debt, by the way.
Hey.
100% out of debt.
Oh my
Like,
God,
that's
that's
fucking
amazing.
sick.
Hell
so,
yeah.
Like, so I kind of had to like knock these little things out before like I wanted to do like the next thing. And
Brother, the debt thing, I totally hear you on.
oh yeah, but dude, I own my car.
Yep.
No credit card debt, no personal line of credit debt. Fucking
No student loan debt, no fucking,
Lush.
no
Yeah.
child support debt,
Yeah.
payments you didn't
Nothing.
make.
Now you get to keep all
Nothing,
your
baby.
fucking money, dude.
Dude, all of it. And what I said to Brennan too, like once we did like, you know, first talk, was like, I don't want to jump into doing the stand up until I know that A, I have the time, and B, I can go down and like work the door first. Like I am not just going to show up to these things and be like, hey, like I'll put in for a spot and whatever. Like I want to respect how I go about doing it. You know what I mean? So
I mean,
like,
I respect the respect that you're putting out there. However, I will say with like open mics and stuff like that, I would just do it. You don't have to wait around. Like even you don't have to wait till you have material.
well,
like,
Yeah. Most open mics aren't at the clubs either, but I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. There's a lot of guys that we know that have worked at the Heliums and Punchlines,
Yeah.
and it definitely is helpful because you're around it a lot more.
Yeah.
But if you bartend and stuff too, I mean, there's open mics, or even just find a good bar that doesn't even have an open mic, and then go in there as a bartender, and then you start the open mic. If you get to run the whole fucking thing,
Yeah.
I mean, it is at this
That's
point.
true too. I never even thought about that.
But like just going
Yeah.
to these open mics too, a lot of them are at bars and like you don't necessarily. I mean, I think it's a great idea to be a door guy at a good club because you just see great comedy, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
However, you know, you're still going to be doing open mics at the same time too, so it's like.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be jumping around and like when I was saying that, like, you know, when I was out and Joe had actually started doing like my podcast co-host, when he had started doing stand up, which I mean he only had like a cup of coffee and stand up, like he wasn't doing it for a while. But we ran into Steve Rinaldi and now we're like good friends with him.
Oh yeah.
And Steve Rinaldi, you know, has told us like time and time again, he's like, dude, if you can't be out doing open mics like 3-4 times a week, it's really fucking hard to hit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just saying like, you know, you got to kind of stay fresh with yourself and have that motivation.
Totally.
And that's another thing. It's not just about working the door at the club. It's about like, do I have 3 or 4 in me this week, or am I fucking too busy because X, Y, and Z?
And a lot of the times, if you're running your own mic too, though, you're kind of forcing yourself to write that new material.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I would be, you know, hosting or helping hosts want to be like, I can't, or even running shows somewhere, Where if I would be doing it there monthly at the same place, I can't go back with the same material. So I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So you like force yourself in that way to do it. But yeah, like Brendan said, yeah, you just get out there. You just, you get up there. You're just like,
because as soon as you start, you just start to kind of learn the scene and what to do. Like I would just start to dip your toe in, even if you're like, I can't commit to 3 or 4 nights a week right now. That's totally fine. Like you'll slowly figure out your schedule and what you can actually manage. But then at least by the time that you have, that schedule managed, you go, oh, I can start hitting it hard right now. You know where to go. You know how to do it. You know how to go about it.
Yeah.
And you go up there for the first time too, and then
and then you might be comfortable on stage.
give you an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And you can just be like, oh shit, I'm going tomorrow night.
I'm very comfy with that shit. So like I'm excited more than I am like anything nervous about it. But
that's good.
But I do have to ask you guys. So like, I mean, I have a comedian in my mind when I think back to like the first moment that like I heard about comedy, and I was like, that is awesome to me, and like I fell like kind of in love with it. So like,
I got that in mind.
Okay, who do you have?
For me, it was Nick Swardson.
Really?
Yeah.
I met him in Cali.
Did you?
Yes, dude. He's
You probably bumped into him. He was just wasted walking down the
Saw him
street.
at a bar?
No. So actually, funny enough, he was the first celebrity I ever met.
No way.
And we're at a bar in LA for the Kentucky Derby. And it's like a shit little like neighborhood bar.
Of course, it was at a bar though.
Yeah,
Swartson's the big
For a big sporting event.
So I didn't realize it. So at the time, this is when he just got sober.
Okay.
And he wasn't telling anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're sitting at this table, which is right next to the door to get into the bar. There's like a nice little bar for like maybe like 20 people or so. There's a whole area with like arcade games and all this shit that like no one's occupying. Like everyone's occupying the bar. So we have like the only table. The waitress sucked. Like I had to go to the bar multiple times to get drinks just because like she didn't care either. She's like, I'm not making any fucking money. Like whatever. But we're sitting right by the door, and we are like kind of drunk. And this is drunk Alex again from the Sandal. Drunk Alex.
Alex
is the
is
same
wasted
fucking
in
Alex.
LA.
I know. I'm sorry, Alex. But these stories are fucking true. So whatever, bro. So Nick Swardson walks in, and like I remember looking at my boy Mike and being like, let's keep it together. This is Nick Swardson.
Yeah.
And Alex goes, oh my God, Nick Swardson. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, whatever. He was super nice.
Really?
He came over. He shook all of our hands. But you could tell it was like awkward for him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like whatever.
yeah.
So he goes off with his people. And I kept going back and forth to the bar because we weren't getting drinks. So I'm standing there for like 5 minutes. Nothing. Him and his friends are 2 feet from me. So I'm like, buy your hero a beer. So I turn around. I'm like, hey, dude, you want a beer? And he's like, no, I'm good. And I was like, all right, not a problem. So I turn around. I'm waiting for like 5 more minutes. And he must realize, like, I'm not a weirdo. I'm not trying to, like, talk to you.
Yeah.
My friend totally
Just
blew
figure it
it
out for you,
already,
dude.
but whatever, So he comes over and he taps me and he goes, hey, man, like, I'm sorry that I acted like that. And, like, thank you so much for like offering, but I'm good. And I was like, dude, all good.
Oh, no way.
Dude, he was the nicest fucking guy.
That's like he, followed it up with that at least.
Yeah, he must have thought about it. It was like, oh, man, I didn't mean to come across like that.
And you know what? At the time, I didn't piece it together until later. Like, I thought maybe he's like going somewhere else. He's got a shoot or he's got a meeting or he's got, it's fucking Nick Swardson. You know what I mean? Like, he could be doing anything. But
What was that, just a couple years ago?
Ooh.
Because I know he was
Dated
hammered in
myself.
Key West during the COVID
Well,
and everything.
he weaves in
Yeah.
and out of sobriety. I think
Yeah.
he goes sober for a while, then he drinks again.
Yeah. I think, this was the first one.
Maybe it was
So this is
before.
probably
Yeah.
like 2018, maybe, now that
Gotcha.
I think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had learned that he was sober at that time. So like, he was probably already annoyed to be in a bar. He was
Sure,
like, I'm just here because my friends are here and this is
Yeah.
where I always hang out with my friends.
true.
But-
Yeah.
And then my fucking boy Alex
Yeah.
and he's like, God damn it. Like, I
Damn.
just don't want to. He's like, I just want to go to a dark place where no one knows me.
Yeah, he was. I mean, that's why I thought he was so funny in high school. He was like one of the first stand-up specials I saw, and all he talked about was drinking and shit. And I was like, this guy's fucking incredible.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And I was like, the fact that this is a job that you could just tell funny stories and be as funny as this guy was, like, he was my guy.
Yeah.
And I, didn't do it for a long time, but it was like I remember seeing him as kind of the first guy that was like, man, I think stand-ups are so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me it was watching all the roasts. It wasn't one in particular comic,
Yeah.
but like I would have like a party on a Sunday night when Comedy Central would air the roasts. So between that and watching the Aristocrats movie, where they all told their Aristocrats jokes, Gilbert Gottfried, Bob Saget, Jeff Ross, George Carlin, like everybody in this movie are telling their version of the Aristocrats joke. And it wasn't even so much for me being like, you know, teenager, high school, college age, that's just like, oh, like they're saying fucked up shit, like that's just funny. It wasn't even that. It was just, I don't know, I love that sense of humor, like Greg Giraldo, Jeselnik, Amy Schumer, even Gilbert Gottfried, whoever on those roasts that were coming up, like I would know every single fucking joke. And then I was just like, I like the way the misdirect on this one. And then I started thinking about the actual joke behind what they were saying.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of got into it.
Yeah.
But I would go see shows. Like I saw Lisa Lampanelli with my mom when I was like 14 years old.
Oh, no way.
Saw her at a theater and we were sitting in the first few rows and she was doing crowd work on me and my mom. Like that was pretty cool. But I don't even think she's doing stand-up anymore.
No,
but she was another one.
She stopped.
She was one of the first people I watched specials and actually went out of my way to watch her. I watched all the Comedy Central, like 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Think, not 30 for 30. That's
30 for
ESPN.
30.
That would be great if they did those. No, those like 30-minute
That'd be
specials.
awesome.
Yeah,
Premium blend. That's what it was. Premium blend.
30 for 30 on a comic like ODing.
Yeah. How many? They could spin up a ton of those right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matthew Perry. Oh,
Do you want me to pull up an article real quick?
Oh yeah,
we
how
can.
we doing on time? We're probably
What does it say over there?
probably close to an hour here. Oh yeah,
while you're
we're an
pulling-
hour 12, so we'll have to land this plane.
yeah. While you're pulling that up, mine was before that there were actual specials out, and it was Brian Regan.
Oh, I love Brian Regan.
Dude, and it was, you could only have like an MP3 file of it, and just his voice with all the weird shit that he did, like that's where I kind of fell in love with it, where I was just like,
He's the best.
I just
dude.
remember it being like 13 and pissing myself,
Yeah.
being like, who the fuck is this dude? Like, I had no idea what he looked like. I
Yep.
had no idea anything about him, but he was just cracking me the
Yeah,
fuck up.
just his delivery
And I fell in
is so
love, dude.
funny, man.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
And he still holds up to this day, and like he translates across, you know,
yeah.
old and young and everything. What do you got here, Dan?
I got a couple. This one really briefly, I was just going to mention because of the timeliness that bird flu has now been detected in 2 counties in New Jersey.
Fuck.
Not down here, but it was in Monmouth County and Burlington County after dead geese tested positive for bird flu.
Burlington
So-
County, it's not too far.
Yeah, that's right up in where was it in?
You gotta
in
buy your
Pemberton.
eggs in Roxborough now.
Yeah, Pemberton out in Burlington County, the hood in the woods. The health department is urging people not to walk their dogs in areas with large numbers of geese. So if you see a dead
Yikes.
goose on the side of the road on the way home, don't get out and fuck it. That's basically. So I don't know.
they know
Leave it
that?
up to somebody in New Jersey to get bird flu from a dead goose. Let's see what happens with this one.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it would be a good idea if we just let it rip through a little bit, just burn off some of the population down here, or?
I don't know, man. How do you even get rid of bird flu? You just got to hope that it
just
dies out. Not you know, enough people.
I mean,
get
it's like when there's too many deer, they pay people to go fucking kill deer. Like
we should do that here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, if we can prove which of these fucking
just
what
go
are
down
they,
and punch them in
goose-
the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
some
fucking. If we
geese.
can prove which geese it's coming from, I don't know. What are you gonna do? Just
I'll
let-
punch a
go-
goose right in the fucking neck, dude.
Dude, I used to play soccer when I was a kid, and it was just the field was
Goose
always
shit.
covered in goose shit.
Goose
And I'm
shit
just, so I have a vendetta,
everywhere.
honestly. So
So do I.
Yeah, I'm anti geese.
Let's
it.
let's crowd them all up and then we'll go fucking goose hunting.
Yeah.
I always love a story like this as well, where a
I saw this today.
couple forced to sit with corpse for hours on
Oh my god.
Qatar Airways.
Is this just a harsh headline?
What
or
what
Or was
airways
he
was
actually?
It
was
was-
he deceased? Or?
Somebody actually died.
This guy
What?
over here was. So could you imagine being on the flight with your husband or your wife or whoever, and you're just like,
He's
hey,
like, this guy's on my armrest.
hey, grab a picture of this dead bitch next to me.
Well, they say that you shit yourself when you die. So like, I mean,
Yeah, I
he's
think
probably like, this guy's
shit
farting the
himself?
entire flight.
damn, they were on their way home to Australia from Italy on a
Oh my god, what a long flight to
That's
be
the
next to a
worst
dead
flight.
guy.
Yeah, and this happens very often happened apparently. A woman collapsed in the aisle next to them and she died mid-flight. They're not going to stop in the middle of fucking Iowa to let off this dead Australian woman. They're like, we're going to continue.
Yeah, but the international birds that they fly, I mean, there's at least a place underneath where you could like maybe
can't
just
like,
chuck her out the back.
them.
Chuck her out the back. Open the fucking.
I will not throw her off, but I mean, just
dude.
Or I'd be like, hey,
throw her down with the luggage and stuff. Why do I have to sit here next to a dead? Fucking...
Yeah, I would rather just lay down flat in the like in the aisle than sit next to a dead person. I'd be like, can I just sit?
Well, wait,
in the
do you guys like
aisle in the
Always
back?
Sunny?
Oh yeah.
You know how there's one episode where they beat Boggs.
Yeah.
So they're drinking on the airplane. And then Dennis is like, oh, well, there's always below storage cabin areas in the Boeing 747 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
be a perfect spot for
I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Make one of these flight attendants really earn their money that day and have them escort a dead body under
That's like a $2,000 bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
Yeah. So they placed a blanket over her body and they placed her in a seat.
And that guy just put some headphones on him.
Yeah,
like, my God.
This guy just had to sit there. There was a few spare.
This is what I get for buying a coach ticket.
Yeah.
I'm fucking never flying on Spirit again. No, it was Qatar. So that's actually a very good airline. Passengers were asked to remain seated while medical crews removed the body. They said the personnel didn't keep the woman covered. They exposed her face to them. Oh, man.
Yikes.
So, they were clearly shaken up by this. So, I'm sure Qatar is going to give them a nice $25 credit towards their next flight.
That's what I was going to say. What is the proper compensation for making someone sit down next to a dead person for hours on end?
When that plane flipped a couple of weeks ago, they were offering people $30,000, and it's like, dude, you could have easily fucking died or broke your neck, and they're like, here's $30,000. It's like
your life is worth $30,000.
That covers nothing, dude.
Yeah, $30,000. What would you guys take if you had to sit next to a dead woman on a 20-hour flight?
That's $100,000 minimum.
At a minimum?
Yeah.
I'm saying easy.
From Australia, dude?
$100,000.
They should pay you just to fly to Australia in general.
Yeah. I wouldn't go to Australia for anything less than $20,000 at a minimum.
Yeah.
$1,000 an hour. That's a fucking all-day flight sitting on goddamn Frontier. Yeah. I'm not.
My roommate does like he's fucking hilarious. You guys would love him. Like, he's exactly like Nick Mullen.
Okay.
From Cometown. Like, dude, like, he is pound for pound. Like, sometimes I think he's funnier than fucking Nick Mullen. He's like, he's that fucking dude. But he's always on, like, I forget, it's not chat roulette anymore, but he, like, fell in love with some girl from Australia.
Holy
and I was
shit.
I was like, you're full of shit, dude. And, like, we get packages to the house all the time, and she's like, Charlie, I'm just sending you, like, whatever. I'm like,
what?
This is fucking insane.
Holy shit.
I know, it's fucking nuts. She's like, I don't know, like 7 years older than him, and he's like, I don't care. She lives halfway across the road. I'm like, you have a girlfriend in Australia. He's like, no, she's not my girlfriend. I'm like, there's a package on our fucking counter. We live in Philadelphia.
We literally
PA.
have a label on it.
That's a fucking girlfriend.
It'd be hilarious if it just turned out to be some Indian guy. It's like, damn, who have I been jerking off to this whole time? It's just AI. It's just some guy named Raj.
Dude, they fucking FaceTime all the time. Like, you know, when you're watching, what's it called? Goddamn, Catfish. When you're watching Catfish, it's like, why won't you FaceTime me? And it's like, red flag.
Dude.
Like, dude, they're FaceTiming all the time.
Dude,
I'm just like,
he better check the lag that he's got on that FaceTime. If it's 5 seconds and they're like, oh, no, it's just the connection.
Yeah,
it's
especially if it's from Australia.
It's an AI creator doing a fucking filter.
Maybe, but
some guy like whispering to an Australian girl, get in there.
Some guy in New Delhi.
So the first time he talked to her, he like told her he was like a male nurse to like seem like he had a good job. So then like a couple days go by and he's like, dude, I really like this girl. And I'm like, you got to tell her the truth. And he's like, what? And I'm like, she thinks you're a male nurse, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucking lying. Like, you're going to fall in love with this girl over a fucking lie. So, like, I heard him, like, literally in the living room. I'm sitting in my room. And he's like, I got to tell you the truth. And she's like, what? And he's like, I'm a landscaper. And she goes, that's fine. Landscapers make plenty of money here. Like, that's it. Like, she didn't even fucking care.
Well, yeah, clearly she's on chat. I doubt she gives a fuck about this dude's occupation.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, it was just like a weird one-off of how they met. But, like, they actually, like, fucking talk every day and fucking FaceTime every day.
Good.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Would have been great if she had a little secret to dispose to him as well. She's like, actually, while we're on that
I'm
topic.
glad you say that. I have a dick. I do have to land the plane here and get
No,
home
I know,
for,
dude. You had
fucking-
quite yourself.
quite a bit, and
Yeah.
a
just
good
'cause-
48 hours here.
yeah.
Not even just a day, man.
I know.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have to get up early to be back into work, I would love to fucking go for it. But I mean, we'll have to have you back on again, dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
Well, have a
I could
status
sit here
update
all
on the
day with
tiny
you.
homes.
Yeah.
We'll
Dude,
shoot a
I'm
podcast
so
inside a
interested,
tiny
man.
home.
Yeah.
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 And we'll have to, but yeah, please plug your podcast, anything else you would like.
Oh yeah. We are the Selling Out podcast. It's Selling Out with Joe and James. It's James Brennan and Joe Tyler. You can find us on YouTube. I will send you guys the link for not only just the podcast, but also for Joe's like IMDb and stuff.
Beautiful.
But yeah, we're finally back on a kick. We have 0 fucking followers, so
Let's get it going.
Follow
be
the man.
expecting to fucking hear from us.
Come on.
We're shooting, back to every week again. So the quest to 100 episodes continues. We're at episode 32 right now. So, and then hopefully within the next couple months, who knows, we have a tiny house business and I'm hitting open mics. So
Brother, I'm so ready for this tiny house shit.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so
Absolutely.
much fun.
Thanks for
doing
coming
it, man.
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you got cooking, Brendan?
Not much. Just BrennanDonegan.com for some shows. I'll be at New York Comedy Club this Thursday. John Montag's show this Friday at Uptown
Upcycle?
Upcycle, which is on Haddon Ave. Anyways, I'll post that on my website too. BrennanDonegan.com.
Oh yeah,
That's
the
pretty
comedy
much
on Haddon Ave these days.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Now it would be all over. We're doing that show with Joey Conks. I got Tommy Rivers. I got a whole bunch of shit. I'll post them on my Facebooks or something like
Sweet.
that. So all right, we'll see you guys next
Peace.
time.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, peace.